Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mixed martial arts, greatest fighters, coming from Stockton, California, close friend of mine. You may know him from knocking motherfuckers out and being banned. Give it up for my man, Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz.
It's mixed martial artist Nick Diaz.
So I was in Stockton, California. I went to school in Lodi, and we both went to Tokyo High School. My brother was always really into a lot of rap music. He hung around, so he was kind of hanging out with a more of like, we were both hanging out with like a Mexican crowd, you know.
You gotta understand, he's seen it all, and he's fought the toughest guys in life and in the cage.
Back in the day, so this is 21 years ago when I had Nick in my class, it's just the way he was. Nick was Nick, and Nick was gonna do what he was gonna do, and if he felt like doing that at that moment, that's what he was gonna do.
I pulled the fire alarm during class. I don't know why I did that. I was standing by and I was screwing with it, and I knew it was a fire alarm or something. You know, I was in second grade. I just didn't really understand how the fire alarm worked, you know, because I would kind of mess with it, and then I think I kind of started, I didn't mean to pull the fire alarm, but I was screwing with it too much. And I ended up pulling it, and I was like, oh no, I did not just do that. And then, like, I was the only one standing there. I'm like, it went down. I was like, and she's like, you pulled it. And I was like, oh, it was bad.
It didn't surprise me. It was like, oh, Nick. Since all of this, I looked on YouTube and I've seen some videos of him because I haven't seen him since he was a kid. He's the exact same. He doesn't make eye contact. He talks very slow and deliberate. Takes a breath between words. I mean, when I saw him on that video, he was the exact same kid.
I had a hard time. I moved around schools a little bit. One school has got one type of people, and then another school has got another type of people. So I got to learn a lot about people, I think, on account of that. I don't know how much I learned in school, but I did get to learn a lot about different types of people. And I'd be like, hey, f*** you. You know what I mean?
Nick doesn't do MMA to get a pat on the back. Nick doesn't train and fight to get people's approval. Nick does it to survive because he knows this is his one shot.
He's had everything that the world can throw at him. He is not easily intimidated, and you can't break Nick Diaz.
Sometimes he gets upset, and when you ask me why he gets upset, it's his inability to express himself verbally. That's why he's a fighter. But when he gets in that ring, he's a poet. He's a poet in motion.
He was always told he wasn't good enough. He was always told he's not going to make it. He was always told you don't belong here, and you know you're not one of these rich kids. And you know, when he fights, I think he does bring some of that back. And unfortunately for his adversary, that's where that energy goes.
Last thing for me, Nick Diaz was in attendance tonight. Is that just as a guest, or is there something going on there?
Yeah, Nick wants to fight.
Are you willing to give him a fight?
Sure.
These people love you. Nick, the world loves you. You're an absolute legend. Earlier this week, you told ESPN, quote, I have a lot of resentment toward the sport for taking so much from me and not giving anything back. It's a fair question. What did the sport rob you of, and what does it still owe you?
You know what? I'm not knocking like the UFC, just maybe like the whole sport in general. Like, I think, yeah, it's just. I always fought, like, you know, I had 3 to 5 fights a year for like 17 years or so. All I ever thought about was weight, you know, what am I gonna eat? After a while, you realize there's more to life, and then, yeah, and then everybody, yeah, okay, buddy. And, yeah, you know, after a while, you realize there's more to life, and then everybody kind of like, you know, digs their heels into you when you're down. It's kind of rough, you know, like, you know, it's nice to see a lot of support, like 2 weeks leading up to a fight. You know, but what about the last 5 years? You know, it's kind of how I feel. Of course, I get a lot of highs and buys. You know, I've done plenty of handshakes. I don't, you know, I'd like to take some of those back, but
And I wish him the best. I love to see him fight. I just wish and hope that he comes back as good or even better than he was, because, you know, I believe he can be champion, man. He has a crazy style of it. He comes forward, and his game is very, very, very underrated. You know, like when you fight him, you feel like a little bit like a feeling of claustrophobia. You feel claustrophobic. You know, he's talking to you and he's playing with your mind, and he's very, very well-rounded. And I think he can get up there and cause a lot of problems to a lot of guys. You know, I always said it
Let's not forget the history of Nick Diaz, man.
Yeah.
It all started with Robbie Lawler. The history of Nick Diaz started with Robbie Lawler. Like, come on, motherfucker, I got this.
Yeah.
And that's what.
you know, what the fuck? You want to blame me? You're gonna try to. Why are you trying to pick on the little guy anyways? I'm smaller than you are. You know, you get your ass beat by everybody, and then you want to try to fight me because I'm in a good position. Why are you trying to hate? You know what I mean? Like, that's what's stupid. This motherfucker, of all anybody and everybody, knows that I fucking busted my ass. I fight twice as much as you do, you son of a bitch. I fight all the time, fight everybody, you know? And while you're fucking, what are you doing? You know, like fighting every fucking twice a year or some shit, motherfucker. You know? Whatever, man. Bring it. But I'm right and you're wrong, and I work harder than you. I train harder, and just because I've got a real team, and I'll fucking help my team. You know, like I'm gonna turn it into I'm a retard. And like what? You're a fucking retard, dude. You're a fucking clown. You know? Whatever. Peace.
It's my understanding that you're a UFC fighter, is that correct?
Yeah.